part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
We are back for another episode. This is the Ball Card Show, the sports podcast.
For the Sports Collector.
I'm Jason Otero.
I'm Gary LeMaster.
And as always, we are brought to you by the Press Play Podcast Network. And Gary, the Bengals are going to this AFC Championship.
That's hurtful.
Well, they did.
They did. And then the referees decided
I
that,
knew you were going to go there.
again, it's a 23-20 game. And you know what? Congratulations to the Chiefs. However, I have not seen that one-sided. Well, take that back. There have been two games this postseason where for one half of football, the officiating was so one-sided that it was laughable. The Jags-Chargers game, the first half, the officials were just horrendous in favor of the Chargers.
We're talking about the Bengals game, though.
And then this
Let's
game.
talk about the Bengals game, though.
The second half
So
of this
anyway,
game,
that I agree. There were some.
oh my God.
You know, they could have gone either way with the calls.
Really?
But, there was definitely that push out of bounds on Mahomes was quite a costly penalty.
Oh, it absolutely won him the game. Here's the issue I have with that call. He was 2 feet out of bounds.
Yeah.
It was a penalty.
Yeah.
Okay? That's fine.
Yeah.
But you have to call the game both ways. And on the previous drive, when Cincinnati was trying to get down the field and get in position to win, there's a third down play. Joe Burrow throws an incomplete pass. Frank Clark takes 3 full steps and shoves Joe Burrow to the ground.
Yeah, I didn't see that one.
That is also roughing the passer, which would have extended the drive.
Yeah, I didn't see that
The
one.
play where Patrick Mahomes got pushed in the back out of bounds, that little love tap push.
Yeah.
There were two I don't mean just slight holds. I mean Trey Hendrickson having his jersey ripped off of his body as he tries to tackle Patrick Mahomes before he can get out of the pocket. No flag, official looking right at it.
I saw that clip. It didn't look quite as bad to me as it does most of the
Oh
Bengals
my gosh.
fans,
And the
but
2 plays before that, the right tackle had a chokehold on one of our guys.
For those of you listening in, I gave him no heads up that I was going to come out of the gates swinging.
All I'm saying
I
is
just needed to see something. So I've been a supportive friend. I haven't done this yet, but Gary never lets me not. He never does. He never misses the opportunity to enjoy me in pain over the Dolphins. So I will not. I will not do the same.
My point is that the officiating was absolutely atrocious.
Those
in
Bengals,
all
though,
one
I
way.
think they're going to keep finding themselves deep in the playoffs.
Joe Burrow's legit.
Yeah.
When you've got a quarterback, you've always got a chance. So you look at the Packers this year. That roster was trash, and somehow Aaron Rodgers still got them right to the verge of the playoffs.
Well, I know that you're really frustrated about the result of that.
I
am too. I really wanted to see the Bengals back in the Super Bowl. I didn't like the narrative. I know they won a lot of close games last year. I just thought they were good enough to be in the Super Bowl. That's how it works.
Were.
You beat the good teams you're in, whether it's overtime or not. And it was just like immediately all the FC was like, the Bills are going to run it. The Bills are going to handle it. The Bills struggled with the Dolphins all 3 games. The Dolphins won one of them, and the other 2 was less than a score, less than a touchdown. And people figured out how to run through them. So, what happened to the respect? And then, late in the season, it's like, oh, I guess those Bengals haven't lost a game in a while.
About 2.5 months.
Oh, okay. They're handling business. So, glad that they made the run as deep as they did. I'd like to see them win a Super Bowl soon. I know you would too. What do you think is going to happen next week?
I think that the Eagles win that game.
But the Philly fans,
Oh, they'll be
I
unbearable.
don't want that. They destroyed their city for the NFC Championship last week.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest here. If there's one city on the East Coast that deserves to burn to the ground, it's probably Philadelphia. So
I was going to say, did anyone notice?
it's like, if there's one city that deserves to burn to the ground, it's probably. Have you been to Philly?
I've driven through.
It's not a pleasant town.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think the Eagles win that. Here's how the Chiefs win that game. If it's a shootout, then the Chiefs have the advantage. And Andy Reid's not an idiot. He may just decide to let it be a shootout because that gives them the edge. If the Eagles do what they've done all year, which is run the ball really effectively and keep Mahomes and company off the field as much as possible, I think they win the game.
It's going to be a fun coaching battle.
For
to
sure.
Watch. Good matchup. You kind of got established, I guess, at this point. It's weird because, 5 years ago, everybody's talking about Kansas City as the young talent. And now it's kind of like, well, you got some veteran leaders here that have been through a lot of postseason,
Yep.
You got the storyline with the Kelsey brothers playing each other.
Which they are over already.
Yeah, they are. Kelsey Bowl. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I will be pulling for the AFC regardless. I just don't like the way Philly fans are when they lose, but definitely not how they are when they win. So, on the flip side of that, I mean, kind of like watching Jalen Hurts. I kind of like watching their offensive scheme.
Yeah.
It'll be a good game. I can't predict the outcome, but I agree with you. If it is a higher scoring game, it leans towards
The Chiefs.
KFC.
KFC?
I'm so fat. Kansas City Chiefs. And it's that.
Give me
chicken
that
biscuit
bowl.
Yeah, shut up. So, all that to say, because I felt bad for you today, I felt bad for the loss. I'm going to let you have a prospecting episode today.
Well, we're going to have 6 of them, baby.
Well, we'll see how it goes this week.
Guys, we are 2 weeks away from pitchers reporting and about a month away from spring training starting. It's exciting, and we are getting into peak Bowman season here real soon. I'm excited about it.
For those of you that are newer listeners, we did a little bit of prospecting last year. We talked through, some of the top 100, some players that we liked, where to buy them, what their ceiling might be, potential. And for those of you newer to the hobby, prospecting baseball is a great way to invest in players where you're not already at a premium price.
Correct. And it's a great way to really enjoy baseball because you start watching these guys, and as they come up, whether you are emotionally or intellectually or financially invested in them, you want to watch more baseball. You want to check more box scores. You want to see how these guys are doing. It's just a really fun way to be involved in the game.
Yeah. The other reason we want to talk prospecting is because we're both Cincinnati Reds fans, and that's the only way we're going to shine in the next couple of years. And the Reds, we were talking about it, the Reds farm system is looking stout now.
And the infield prospects are just insane.
I would never put it past ownership to sell them all away. And
I think we're trading Noel Marte.
Yeah, we'll be getting rid of some people. But right now, let's go. So what we were going to do today is we're going to run through the NLCS. Quick before we go any further, yes, that's what I said. NLC.
You said the NLCS. That's the National League Championship Series.
National League Central Series.
It would be division.
Hey Gary, I don't care.
Words matter.
NL Central Series.
So each week for the next 6 weeks, starting today, we're going to pick a division, and we are going to go through who we think are the prospects, 4 or 5 for each team that you should be looking at. Realistically, it'll probably be closer to 4.
Me saying NLCS was bad. Wait till you hear me read some of these names. It will only get better. But that's the heart of it. Oh, before we jump any further, I do want to say this.
Say.
Weren't able to be here last week for the episode. We were, I had a personal issue going on. My grandmother had passed away. And, man, I tell you what, she loved seeing me do what I love, whether it was baseball, cards, any hobby, music, whatever I was into. Grandma was a fan. She would have loved knowing about the podcast. She battled a long battle with dementia, Alzheimer's, and we were able to just celebrate her life last week. So it was not a good week to talk sports cards. There were more important things going on.
Yep, for sure.
But, Grandma, I love you. I'll miss you. And that's
Absolutely.
why we were out. Okay, it wasn't just me being lazy like normal. Okay,
it wasn't. I was just going, I don't feel like this week.
Yeah, I'm not in the mood to talk about cardboard pieces right now.
And in Jason's defense here, I was going to go solo for the podcast last week.
You're welcome, everyone.
And we just decided for several reasons that probably wasn't our best go-to.
Yeah.
The biggest reason being I couldn't find my mic.
And the biggest reason being, if I'm not on the show,
boring.
Let's just, what show is it? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we're about to find out because
Yeah.
we're about to do 30 minutes of prospecting. All right, so National League Division. We're going to start with the Reds.
The Central. The National League Central Division.
Guys, here's what I know. In preparation for this, Gary has paid for information that I'm unwilling to pay for. So half of this is going to be super helpful. If you prospect for real, get out a pen and paper. You're going to get some really good information. This is half prospecting. This is half showing how much Gary knows about prospecting.
And 30% you making fun of me for knowing stuff about
least.
prospecting. Yeah.
I wrote down notes. True.
You did. I'm looking at
I use
them.
the internet for free, and the Google machine has helped me out. Reds, we're going to start it off. So we just have a few names for each of the teams in the National League Central Division. And up first is a big one everybody knows about. Not a cheap player to get into right now. Ellie De La Cruz with the Cincinnati Reds. He's a beast.
So here's the thing with Ellie. Like Jason just said, prices are already kind of baked, although there's still a little bit of room. You're not going to touch his autos. You can get some of his numbered stuff reasonably. Do not do what a lot of people are doing right now and overpay for his non-first stuff. People are paying $50, $80, $100 for numbered second and third cards of his. It's just silly.
Can we interrupt real quick for
Yeah.
the newer collectors? I think most of you know what's going on with this, but if you're not sure what we're saying, we say first. So prospecting, Bowman offers a few different products for these prospects. Their first licensed MLB card is their Bowman First.
And it'll have a little symbol.
Yes, it
that
says first
Bowman.
in the top corner. If we say paper, that just means that it wasn't like the chromium finish that those other glossy cards have. Paper Bowman products don't carry as much value, but they still are that first one. So in bulk, they may be worth an investment. And then if we say non-first, it means that Bowman may have like a prospect card, meaning they haven't been called up yet. They're still in the farm system, but it's not the first release of them in that licensed product.
And a lot of times you get guys that have were in the minors for 3-4 years. They're going to have 7-8 different Bowman cards.
Yeah, so each time Bowman releases a product, if they've already been in it, they're probably still in the product.
Right.
And there'll be things like refractors, colored parallels, even autos in there. But the first is really what we're typically talking about when we're saying investing in these players.
Right.
Right.
So your buy opportunities for Ellie right now, in my opinion, are his base chromes, his mojos, and then numbered paper. Any numbered chrome autos are pretty baked right now, and you're not going to find too many of them raw. Most of them have been graded. He's that exciting of a prospect.
Yeah.
There's people saying he may break camp with the Reds. I don't think that he will. I think that he will likely start the year in AAA and be up by June. He's going to be a June call-up.
I
That's
agree.
my guess.
They want to see if that power is consistent.
Well, it stayed consistent to Double-A.
Yeah.
You actually see nastier pitches in Double-A than you do in Triple-A. Now, you don't see the control.
Right.
You don't see the command at Double-A, but you see filthier stuff at Double-A. The guys who've gotten to Triple-A that have filthy stuff don't stay at Triple-A very long. They usually are in the majors pretty fast. The other guys you see at AAA are the guys who don't necessarily have the filthiest stuff, but they've got that command, that kind of pinpoint command that keeps them competitive.
Yep. Ellie De La Cruz. Up next, I believe he is a Puerto Rican. I'm pretty positive, actually. Edwin Arroyo. He's a young guy, 19. Very talented. You're super big on this guy. He's, besides Ellie, you think this one's kind of more of a no-brainer.
So he and Noel Marte were the big pieces of the Castillo trade with the Mariners last year.
He had a pretty big contract with the Mariners out of the draft, I think.
Arroyo?
Yeah.
He signed for 1.6, 1.65.
I guess it's not that big for that.
He was a second-round pick. He's from Florida. And everybody, when he came, the reason he was a second-round pick is because there were questions about power. There were questions about whether he was just going to be a Ozzie Smith type baseball player. Some contact, decent average, no real power. Fielding's never. This kid picks it. He is going to stick at shortstop. He is fantastic in the field. But then he got into ball, actual pro ball, and low A and rookie ball, and raked with some pop. He's got a projectable frame. The kid could legitimately be a 30-30 type player eventually. I think realistic floor is 15 to 20 jacks and Gold Glove caliber shortstop, which makes him one hell of a player.
One thing to watch with him, which at this stage in his development, it's not a concern for anybody, but just something that they're trying to take care of. As he's trying to develop more pop, you're going to have a longer swing. When you have a longer swing there's more places for you to miss. So when he was in the Arizona League, he did have a 30% strikeout rate.
Yep.
So it's just something to watch. If his contact picks up, he's going to continue.
AFL, right? Arizona Fall League.
Mm-hmm. If his contact rate continues to pick up, just be something to watch.
Oh, for sure.
And as he gets stronger,
he was one of the youngest players in the Arizona Fall League.
Yeah, he doesn't need you to defend him. We're just
I'm just saying
out.
You get a 19-year-old kid going up against guys that are 22 and on the border of going into the major leagues.
So what does this mean on timeline? I mean, how many years out before you see this kid?
I think that by the end of this year, he's gotten to Double-A. I don't know that he makes the jump to Triple this year. So I think we're probably a 2024, 2025.
Could be a little sooner or something
call up,
happens,
but I mean, he's only 19, so that puts him at 21 into the majors.
Yep. So, and his pricing, I mean, he's not a secret. Because
no, but he's
young.
not expensive. Yeah. He's a guy that you can get his autos for $30.
Yep.
You can get his numbered stuff pretty cheap. I picked up a Ray Wave PSA 10 for like $50. So there's stuff to be had out there of his for reasonable prices, and he's a guy that if he continues to develop, you'll see that stuff pop.
Yeah. Up next, this is my favorite pick off of the Reds prospects that we're looking at right now, Cam Collier. Collier. He's second-generation baseball player. Lou is his dad.
Sweet Lou.
Strong bat, lefty, strong arm. He can throw 90 miles an hour. Third base is a pretty natural fit for him.
Yep.
I just think that he is, for his age, he's pretty established. He's going to hit the ball hard a lot. I think he will do well. And I think when you have some of these other guys where it's like several different tools, you're seeing a lot of opportunity there with them. Somebody just starts drilling the ball, they're going to move up quickly. And so that's where I think, based off of everything I'm reading with him, he's the real deal.
Very small sample size, but in that small sample size, a rookie ball, he hit close to 400, like 372, 373. Couple jacks. I mean, he only had 27 at-bats. So this year, I think he probably opens at rookie ball and then gets the call up to low A pretty fast. And we'll see where it goes from there. But I agree, he's got a ton of potential. He slipped a little bit in the draft for some reason. Nobody could really figure out why the Reds got him for a steal late in the first round.
Yeah.
I think it was the number 17 overall pick, something like that.
One interesting thing to note, even compared to last year when we were doing this, is that rookie ball league, that first step up, for most of these guys, they were impacted by COVID and had a very short season. So in that first, year and a half where you're able to make a lot of notes, figure out what you're working with, there really haven't been enough reps. So there can be a little bit of volatility with some of these, especially if you're seeing them 18, 19, maybe 20 years old. The last few years, they just haven't had anywhere near what scouts need to see, what coaches need to see to really be able to establish where they're at.
To continue to develop. I mean, the next couple of years, it used to be when guys got called up, if they got called up at 24, they were over the hill.
Yeah.
You're going to get a lot of guys that are going to be 23, 24, 25 when they get called up that 10 years ago would have been called up at 21 or 22, but they missed a year and a half of development.
Yeah. Yep.
Next guy falls into that category.
Yep. Spencer Steer.
Love this dude. Absolutely love this dude. Another piece that was traded for last year in the trade deadline came over from the Twins organization. A little bit older. He's 25. He was a draft pick out of college, I think third-round pick. All the cat does is hit. That's all he does. He just hits. He's a corner infielder.
Gets on base.
Yes, he doesn't strike out. His decent power. I mean, he's not going to hit 40 jacks, but he's going to hit 20 to 30.
Solid plate discipline.
Yeah, doesn't strike out a lot. Great bat to ball. Exit velocities are decent. They're not amazing. He's not electrifying, but he's going to be a guy. I think he ends up being the Reds' opening day third baseman. I think he breaks camp. He came up at the end of the year last year, got about 25, 28 games in at the end of the year. Wasn't amazing, but the Reds were so bad that it was just not a lot to cook with there. But I think he could be a guy that's a lot like Brendan Donovan was last year for the Cardinals. A little bit older call-up, and all of a sudden you look up at the end of the year and you're like, is he the Rookie of the Year? Like, he might be. Finished top 3. I think Spencer Steer could be that type of a player this year.
Up next, my goodness, if it has to fit on a jersey, we're in trouble. Christian Encarnacion Strand.
CES. He was in that deal with Spencer Steer from the Twins.
Yep. I just wrote 4 words for him. Big bat, little discipline.
Correct.
That's where he's at right now.
Correct.
But when I say big bat, I mean it's got a big bat.
So one of the things that is really difficult for people who grew up around the game to get their heads wrapped around the modern day game and analytics. If you hit 300, no one gives a shit whether you strike out 50% of the time. They don't care. It does not matter. A strikeout and a ground out and a pop out all result in the same thing, an out.
Incorrect.
Well, if it's a deep fly ball, maybe not.
Correct.
Right? That's why I said a pop-up. This cat hit across 2 levels and 3 teams. He hit 310 on the season with, let's see here, 32 home runs.
Yeah. What level is he at right now?
Double A. He'll open the year in Triple A, I think.
That will be interesting to see because this will be his real test on discipline. The guy's throwing a bunch of filthy stuff like you were talking about Double A. They'll get caught up quick. However, there'll be a lot of control. So
yes,
he's going to face a lot more of those borderline strikes, a lot more paint in the corners at higher speeds.
Yeah.
So it'll be a real good sample to watch those first few months, see how he's responding. If he comes out of the gates with those kind of, that kind of an average, I mean, they probably won't drag their feet forever over this guy.
And he's not a – discipline is a weird word because most of the time the guys who are striking out a lot tend to be almost exclusively pull hitters, and they're trying to rip everything. He doesn't do that as much. Like he'll strike out, but it's because he's trying to go oppo with an outside pitch. Right? Like he can hit the ball to all fields, and when he wants to barrel something up, it's loud contact.
Yeah.
I really like this dude. He's not going to be a guy who at the major leagues hits 300, but I think he's a guy at the major league level that hits 260 to 270 with 30-plus jacks and is just every third year makes an all-star team.
Yeah, Cincinnati's a good field for him.
Stuff's pretty cheap.
Okay, we're going to move on to the Cubs, who are also in the National League Central Division.
There you go.
Pete Crow Armstrong.
Yes.
Big thing I noted was there's a lot of conversation about how he is a line drive hitter.
Yep.
Like that is how he swings. That's how he makes contact. That used to be something that just meant a good hitter. Now with the way that people are tuning swings, just like golf swings, you have exit velo being looked at, trajectory, angle, all this kind of stuff. So when somebody is a pure line drive hitter, a lot of times that means somebody that's not afraid to spray that in the gap rather than trying to rake it over the fence. It's a little different, but he's really strong. And so those line drives are going to go far and have a chance.
So what you just said is the important thing. He is not a swing change, but a swing tweak away from half of those line drives turning into 370 foot.
And honestly,
digs.
It's probably just reps and seeing the ball better.
And so that's the other thing. A really important thing to remember with Pete Crow Armstrong. He missed almost a full season with a knee injury. His stuff is in 2020 draft, 2020 Bowman draft. He was a centerpiece. He was drafted by the Mets, centerpiece of the trade for Javi Baez. The Cubs have traded for some dudes in the last 3 years in their farm system. We're going to talk about a couple of them. Here's the thing with Pete Crow Armstrong. He's going to steal 30-plus bases.
Yep.
He's going to play Gold Glove caliber center field.
Yep.
He can fly. He's probably a 2-hitter. I don't think he's a leadoff guy, but I think he's a 2-hitter. And his floor, again, I'm a big floor guy. His floor's pretty daggone high. And I think that he opens the year in Double-A and is up by the end of the year for at least a cup of coffee.
All right.
That's my guess.
Kelvin Alcantara.
Kevin Alcantara?
Yeah, bigger name.
Bigger dude.
Yeah. Hold on. Did I misspell it?
Well, you didn't misspell it, but it's pronounced Alcantara. It looks like Alcantara, like Sandy Alcantara,
Yes.
but it's actually pronounced Alcantara.
Where's Kevin from?
Kevin Alcantara, Dominican Republic.
I guarantee you it's Alcantara.
Okay.
Phonetically in Espanol.
I believe you, but I'm just telling you that every human being in baseball says Alcantara.
Well, I'm a human being, and I'm talking about baseball right now.
Okay.
The man is 6'6".
And he's only 188 pounds right now.
Bet he can dunk.
I bet he gets to 225, and he
Yeah.
already has ridiculous power.
Here's what makes him stand out a little bit in this organization. They won't stop talking about how smart he is. Like,
Yes.
he's a very intelligent player, and when it comes to the developmental league, guys who have their head in the right place, it makes a big difference. They're not just waiting; they're working.
First full season, a full season ball, low A, as a 19-year-old. Hit 273, slash 273, 360, 451. 811 OPS. He hit 15 bombs.
Has a strong arm too.
6 triples, so he's not slow. 85 RBIs. He did strike out 29% of the time, so he's got a long swing, long levers. That's why the Double-A jump is going to be an interesting one. But, man, he is a legit 5-tool guy. A legit 5-tool guy. So, and his stuff, you can pick up his base Bowman Chrome Autos. He's in 2021
Yep.
Bowman. You can pick up his base autos and he's in a Yankees uniform for $75, $80.
Owen Casey.
Owen Casey. Yep, Owen Casey. Again, it's Cubs farm system. The kid's a hitter.
6'4", lefty.
Yeah. Really, really, really like this kid. He's also in 2020 draft. Sprays the ball to all fields. Power is strong.
Who's in right field right now for the Cubs? That's likely where he's going to end up.
Yeah, he's going to be a corner guy. Can't play anywhere in the infield, but in a stretch of the imagination. But his raw power is insane, and he makes really good contact. I mean, for a guy who they say has a hit tool of 45, I don't think it's quite that bad. Strikeouts, a little bit of a concern, but high A, first full season high A, he's 20 years old. He'll be in Double-A this year. That's where we'll see. But for a guy right now, you can get his stuff, his Bowman Chrome Autos for $30, $35. There's a whole lot of worse bets you could make.
Yeah. Okay. Matt Mervis.
Okay, Matt Mervis. Maybe my favorite prospect in all of baseball. Does not have a Bowman card yet. Okay? This cat last year went from high A to triple A in 1 year and absolutely raked. He hit 310 on the year, 984 OPS. He slashed 310, 379, 605. Hit 36 jacks. Undrafted free agent. He's going to be the opening day first baseman for the Cubs.
You want to hear the bad news?
Doesn't strike out a lot.
He does have one weakness, and it's just a matter of time until he figures it out. But he struggles with lefties. The release for some guys, sometimes it's just an adjustment of an angle, where you're picking the ball up. Sometimes the field you're playing in can affect that, where the ball is released. That's the only thing at all that I could find negative. He's high contact and power.
Yeah.
That's not normal.
No.
You usually get to pick one.
He's so good.
Yeah.
And he's a really humble dude who loves baseball. Like, this is a dude who was drafted out of high school and didn't sign. He was drafted in 2016 out of high school, didn't sign, and then didn't get drafted again when he came out of college. Went out to the Cape, played at the Cape, played really well, signed an undrafted free agent contract, and has just raked.
Mm-hmm.
At every stop, just raked.
He's good.
Yeah.
Up next is somebody, I only have 2 words, good bat. I think there's a lot more to say about him, Christian Hernandez.
Yeah, so he's one of the higher-ranked prospects that the Cubs have. Very young, but boy, he flashed last year. He flashed real hard in rookie ball. This year he'll start in, I don't know whether they'll jump him to high A. I'd kind of like to see him jump him to high A out of the gate, but he might start in low A for 20 games and then get moved up. Very, very similar. If I had to throw a comp out there of younger players that you've probably heard of more, he's a more advanced Brennan Davis, which is another Cubs prospect. If we're talking major league comps, being an outfielder, it's a little tough. He's bat-wise.
See what I'm saying? I'm not as excited about this guy the more I read him.
Yeah, he's just a really solid kid that has some projectable power. I
Time
think
will
that's
tell
why
is
people
where
are
he is right
high
now.
on him.
Yeah.
But he's got good baseball feel, and maybe a DJ LeMahieu type comp with a little bit more power.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the Brewers. Obviously, big product, big in Bowman products this year with Jackson Churio. Our first one. This is the one that most people were chasing.
Yeah, he's not cheap.
He's a hard hitter. I tried to find like what they need to work on too, and it seems like plate discipline is something, but that's consistent with where he is in the process and his age. When he makes contact, it's loud. He really is good at not just getting the barrel on the ball, but the contact he makes can be pretty solid. But what he's chasing, what pitches he's passing on that he needs to at least defend, maybe a little bit of improvement there. But I mean, he's really good.
I think there's a better than 50% chance that he's a 19-year-old major leaguer at some point this year.
That's really something to think about.
He'll start the year in Double-A. If he does what he did last year, it's going to be really hard to keep him off the major league roster by the end of the year, especially for a team that's probably not chasing a division title.
Up next, Joey. How do you say it?
Joey Weimer.
Weimer. I wrote Joey Wiener.
I bet he's heard that joke before.
And that's why I wanted you to say it, because I misspelled it.
I'll let you take this one because you had a lot of things to say about Joey Weimer.
Yeah, so the more I read on him, people like his power. He's fun to watch. One of the descriptions that they were writing about it was like it's like such a kinetically powerful swing. So I was like, I'm going to watch this guy. I watched about 10, 20 minutes of at-bats. I don't like his swing at all. Mechanically, he's fidgeting around like crazy, getting set in the box.
That's the baseball coach in you.
Yeah. So his swing is really long and violent. There have been guys that have had great careers like that. Vlad Sr., what he was doing with his movement on the bat as the pitch was coming in, broke the rules. You know who else had a really violent he really reminds me of, which is going to make me look a little bit stupid, but it's Bryce Harper had a really violent swing.
Yeah,
when
still
he was
does.
coming out.
And also very similar with Joey Weimer. When 2 strikes happen, they choke up and simplify things.
Sure. Bryce has a more compact movement.
That's true.
Bryce
But early
is like
on,
a
he didn't.
3-step swing. With Joey, I would watch him. I think people want to like him. He's cool. He's charismatic. I can see why when he gets a hold of it, it's going to go.
He got a hold of it a lot.
I think he's going to have – if he can make adjustments to his swing, I think it's going to be I just think his swing needs shortened a little bit. He has pretty high strikeout rate. But if he's playing defensive and, choking up on 2 strikes, and that's all stuff that can be worked on. It seemed like mixed reviews. I watched the video. I would have a tough time seeing that happen soon for him.
He's relatively inexpensive to buy right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think he makes his major league debut this year. He's 23 years old, Don't know how much left he has to prove at AAA. And the Brewers are not like the Dodgers who keep their guys down for 2 years
That's
too long.
true. That's
right?
true.
They bring guys up.
Yep. Yeah, I think we'll get to see. But, man, it was tough to watch that swing. You know who else it reminded me of? Reggie Jackson. I'm just like – and even Reggie's swing was more compact.
His goal is to murder everything.
Yeah. So, anyway.
But those types of guys from a hobby standpoint,
oh, yeah.
if he's hitting bombs, he's
Yeah.
going to get hobby love.
Yep, absolutely. I don't know why it bugged me so much. I think
Well,
it's just been
It's almost a double hitch, like you were describing it. Like as the pitcher is going into his windup, the elbows both flare,
elbows are flared up.
and then when he loads, instead of it just being a back load, it's a drop load.
Yep.
And it's a lot going on.
He doesn't just drop his hands. I mean, I don't want to get too in the weeds because this can get boring for a lot of people. He doesn't just drop his hands. He drops his body as well. And part of the
but
danger,
then the hands come back up
yes.
as he starts to trigger.
Think of how many things didn't have to happen that just happened is what I'm saying.
Right. No.
He's got to be comfortable with it, but I also
He ain't
watch
Tony
him too.
Gwynn.
If he's eager, he wants to hit the ball.
Oh, yeah.
He make no mistake, this isn't a guy that wants on base. He's a guy that wants to get on base from hitting the ball.
Yes.
So he has a tendency to get out on that front foot a little bit too, which clearly somebody has worked with him on that, and that's why his stance is already so wide to block that movement a little bit. But, bro, just chill a little bit. Just take a little bit of pizzazz out.
Just stay back.
You're
a little
cool.
bit.
You can kill it. All right, so he was one I was frustrated with, and he got more press than anybody else. Tyler Black, former hockey player. He's good at getting on base.
He's an athlete.
Yeah.
And you talk about somebody whose swing is almost the exact opposite of Joey Weimer's. Tyler Black does have, early in the count, a pretty big leg kick, which I think he could probably get away from a little bit, because when people start throwing late breaking stuff at him, it's really going to mess up his timing. But other than that, like you just said, he just puts the bat on the ball. Power, I think, is a question mark, but bat to ball, he's going to hit the ball. He's not going to hit 230. He's going to hit 280 to 300. Mm-hmm. He's going to put the bat on the ball. He's going to walk a decent amount. He gets on base. I mean, his on-base percentage was over 400 last year, right, in high A ball. 22 years old. I think he starts the year in Double-A, ends the year in Triple-A, and is probably up next year.
Okay. Up next is probably one of my top two prospects out of this whole National League Central Division.
Okay.
Sal Frelick.
2021 Bowman draft.
I can't imagine he's cheap.
He's not that expensive.
Slash 329, 414, 466. He's a lefty. He gets on base. He's really fast. He's got a good glove.
He's 5'9".
Yeah, one of them said it says 5'10". That's generous.
Yeah, he's 5'9". He did hit 330 last year.
Yeah, they're looking at him being a two bag, right?
Yeah, he's Sal Frelick's outfielder. Tyler Black's second baseman. Yeah, Sal Frelick's the outfielder. He's a center fielder.
Okay, but I like what I see with him. I think he's very well rounded and pretty much ready. I mean, what areas of development are you seeing? I mean, size is going to be a thing.
Size you can't change, but that's less of an issue in baseball than in any other sport. In some ways, having a compressed strike zone helps you if you're a very selective batter. Mm-hmm. You're going to get on base a lot more, and then you can take advantage of that speed. His plate discipline is pretty good. He doesn't strike out a ton. I mean, he walks and strikes out at about the same rate. I think what was his strikeout rate last year? 12%?
Yeah,
13%?
It was solid. He's disciplined.
He's the number 2 prospect in their system behind Jackson Cherry. He'd be the number 1 otherwise by a lot.
It's a two-part thing you're looking for with somebody built like him. 1, is he fast? Yes. 2, does he get on base? Yes. He does. That's really what
he's a leadoff
every
hitter.
team is looking for that prospect.
He's a leadoff hitter.
And they don't need him to be hitting a ton of home runs. Get on base and then keep moving, getting more bases.
Yeah.
I think he's going to do that. I don't know why I'm as positive as I am on him, but I really
there's some guys you just kind of fall in love with as a prospect, and you really have faith in. There's some guys like that for me.
All right, let's move over to the Pirates. First one is probably the one that I'm most excited about. I mean, it's no secret. Tamar Johnson, man, one of the reports I was reading on him said It's like you're combining Wade Boggs' plate discipline and Vlad Sr.'s bat to ball skills. That is terrifyingly good combination of skills to have.
It's just really important to remember that
And he's a second baseman.
you're basing all of that off of him facing high school pitchers.
Sure.
Right?
Yep.
I mean, he's played a total of 23 professional games between rookie ball, and he hasn't been shockingly impressive in those. Once he got out of rookie ball and got to A ball, he was better. Power is going to take a little while to develop. I think there's some raw power potential there, but it's going to take a little while to progress. But he's got a 70 grade on his hit tool. 18 years old. He'll probably
really
make
hard
his
to
way
get.
to Double A this year.
Yeah.
I think that
He's still affordable, right? Very affordable.
not really. It
Well,
depends
that
on what you
sucks.
consider very affordable. I've got one of his aqua lava refractors, not autographed. I was offered $100 for it, and I said
Oh,
no.
wow. Okay.
So his gold autos are going for $3,500, $4,000.
Wow.
Yeah, he's not cheap.
Well, I take that back. Up next, Nick Gonzalez. Here's what I got on him. Good hands. On base plus slugging, solid. Power's improved.
He's buy low. He is
Yes.
a buy low prospect right now. So 2 years ago, Nick Gonzalez was a top 10 prospect in baseball, in all of baseball. And then he struggled a little bit. But here's what I will tell you, especially guys that have a couple of years of production at the minor league level under their belt. 99 out of 100 guys that struggle, it's not because they forgot how to hit. Baseball is a tough game. And in the prospecting world, the minute somebody has a 30-game struggle, people jump off the bandwagon. And that's your opportunity to buy.
Yeah.
Happened with Anthony Volpe last year when he went to Double A for the first 45 days and struggled crazily. His stuff went down 30%, and by the end of the year, it was up 10% from where it was at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
I think that's what you have with Nick Gonzalez here. He did not forget how to hit. He struggled mightily at A-ball. They moved him up to Double A, struggled early, and then started to hit. Strikeouts were a concern. That was the biggest issue he had last year. But he didn't forget how to hit. I think that he is criminally underrated across all of baseball right now, and you can buy his stuff pretty cheap. 2020 Bowman draft.
Okay. Andy Rodriguez, switch hitter, catcher,
Second baseman and outfielder.
primarily catcher though.
For now.
Yeah. The reason I'm saying that is once they kind of put you in that camp, it's hard to not stay in there. But it happens from time to time. He can draw plenty of walks. Got good contact. A true switch hitter.
Not too many guys make the climb from high A to Triple A in 1 year and get better at every stop.
That is very true.
He literally batted .302 at low A across 80 games. He batted .356 at Double A across 31 games. And then he got to Triple A and hit .455.
That's pretty good. 455. That's not bad.
Hit .455. He doesn't strike out.
Yep.
He doesn't strike out. He had 450 at-bats last year. He struck out 90 times. It's 18%, 19%. Reasonable power, bat-to-ball skills through the roof, can run a little bit, great arm. He's going to be a major league player. He's going to be a really good major league player. 2019 Bowman.
All right. Up next, good athlete, was actually football and baseball player, had offers to do full rides at Penn State for both sports. Lonnie White Jr.
He is a projecting monster. Like, if you look at the guy and just go look at his pure athletic skills, you're like, oh.
Is he in Bowman already?
Yeah, 2021 draft.
Okay.
2021 Bowman draft. His stuff is cheap. It is high variance.
You're probably hanging on for a couple years to see what happens.
Yeah,
So
this
it's
is not
a quick.
This is not Flipville.
Yeah.
He is very high variance, but he appears to be starting to put things together just a smidge. He's a guy whose development's been a little bit delayed. He's only played 15 games of professional ball across 2 years. But man, if he puts it together, you got a guy who can hit 30 jacks and hit 270.
Yep.
That's a solid player.
Yep. Okay, the final team in the National League Central Division Series Championship battle.
St. Louis Cardinals.
St. Louis Cardinals.
We hate them.
Yeah, I hate the Cards. I love this guy because I do believe he is going to remind us of the late 90s steroid era power hitters. I really, really, really think that. When I was reading up on him, I was like, all right, this guy's 6'5". We're talking about Jordan Walker, 6'5", 160-mile-an-hour exit velo tracked, which I was talking with you, Gary, about this. A few other names hitting those numbers in recent years would be Juan Soto, Fernando Tatis, and Javier Baez. Fielding needs work. Who cares, right?
Yeah, and it's not it's not like he's
nothing,
terrible.
but-
He's not Rafi Devers. He's not Jordan Alvarez bad in the field.
Right.
He's just average, maybe a touch below average, but he's not a disaster.
But with a bat in his hands.
Oh, this dude is a dude. Like, I don't know how else to say it. He is just, you go watch him hit. It is.
What does Pat McAfee call him? Dogs.
Yeah. Well,
He's a dog.
you were talking about earlier. So you look at a guy like Joey Weimer, and when he swings hard, you're like, holy crap, he just swung really hard. And then you watch Jordan Walker swing, and he hits a ball 490, and you're like, how'd that happen? He
Mechanically leveraging.
He
his
didn't
size
swing
and
hard.
strength. Yeah.
Well, how did that just happen? He will, in all likelihood, break camp with the Cardinals.
He's expensive right now.
His base auto Bowman first 2020 draft $700 raw.
Yeah.
You're not buying his autos cheap, but think about it this way: if you are very confident that he's going to be, as long as he's healthy, National League Rookie of the Year and put up Juan Soto type rookie numbers, $700 is a steal, because at the end of the year it'll be $2,000.
Yeah.
Right. So everything's based on what your cash flow and risk reward tolerance are. But you could do worse than buying Jordan Walker right now, in my opinion. And if you have it, I certainly wouldn't be selling it right now. But this dude is just an absolute monster. Like, he's gonna. Oh yeah, I'm just gonna say it. I think he breaks.
Say it, Gary.
I think he breaks camp with the Cardinals, and I think he makes the rookie year that Julio Rodriguez just had look pedestrian.
Wow.
I think you could very easily see a 280, 380, 590 slash line with 30 jacks, 100 RBIs. He's a freak, man.
I'm huge on him. So I don't buy $700 Bowman first.
No, but you can buy some refractors and base chromes for $20.
That's what I was getting at.
Yeah.
Where's his name page? Buy this up in volume. If you think this guy's as big as I do, guess what? I'm buying paper first too.
Yeah, for $5.
Yeah. I'll hang on to that stuff.
Yeah.
Up next, the only pitcher getting any love out of the National League Central Division Series.
Pitchers don't sell too much in the hobby.
Tink Hence.
Did you watch any Tink Hence?
I watched a little bit. He can hit 95, 97. He hits those numbers. However, what makes him good is that he discovered not only can he throw a fastball 95, 97, he can then turn around and throw a curveball 79 miles an hour.
Yes.
And his delivery looks pretty much identical.
Yes.
That is, that is a drastic, we're talking 15-mile-an-hour difference.
He tunnels the ball so well. So well. Like Jason just said, if you don't know what tunneling means, it means that for the first 30 feet after the ball leaves the pitcher's hand, it looks like every other pitch. Trevor Bauer, regardless of what you think about Trevor Bauer as a human being, probably in the last 6-7 years, tunnels the ball better than any other pitcher. Trevor Bauer had 4 legit pitches, and for the first 30 feet, they were all within an inch or two of each other.
Yeah, so
and what they looked like.
To break that down a step further, you can watch some of the older baseball players, some junk pitchers, and they will have a big looping curve, right? It's clearly off speed. You're trying to basically get somebody way out in front before you've really let go of the ball. You're trying to sell your delivery. when they're tunneling this ball, the movement may not be 2 feet, right, at 60 miles an hour, but if they're able to keep that thing tucked in at a range, it's going to come out of the hand. If they don't pick up the rotation right away, it's going to look like maybe a changeup, and then it's going to drop off significantly more than that changeup would.
Yeah.
It's just really hard to see what's coming at you. And these are players that, I mean, at the college level, I remember stuff where at batting practice they're writing numbers on the baseball or colored dots, and you're supposed to call out what you see as the ball's coming in, right?
Yeah.
You have split seconds to do that at an uncompetitive college level.
Right.
These guys are doing this at a pro level where the velocity is
Insane.
absurd. So when somebody's able to shift speeds like that, keep the ball low. So that means if it's tunneled, that curveball is going to come in low. That's a huge deal because it's not hanging is the point.
Right. Well, and what's crazy is he's one of the few younger guys. So we're getting into the weeds here, so I'll try to be brief. Most pitching prospects and even major league pitchers nowadays have more of a 3/4 delivery, right?
Yep.
And you see more and more guys really being close to a sidearm delivery, and then you have a few of those real submarine guys.
And what's the advantage of that?
Well, it just completely changes the angle that the hitters used to seeing the ball come out of the pitcher's hand.
They're
at.
losing milliseconds.
Yes.
Where they can read off the hand.
But Hintz is really a true over-the-top kid, and you don't see that very often anymore. And what that results in is massive amounts of induced break on a fastball. When you can get 17, 18, 19 inches of induced break on a 99-mile-an-hour heater, that's insane.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane. This kid, now keep in mind, the Cardinals are really, really big about this with their pitchers. It's why a lot of their younger guys don't come up till they're 24, 25 years old. They really take their time in stretching their guys out. It'll probably be another year before, maybe 2 years before this kid has 150 innings pitched in a season, right? But in 52 innings pitched last year, he had a 1.38 ERA. He started 16 games and only pitched 52 innings. So he's getting about 3.5 innings a start. 52 innings pitched, 81 strikeouts, 15 walks. Opponents hit 174 against him.
When it's 174 against a guy, that just means you're not seeing the ball.
Yeah, and when you are, you're not getting good bat on it.
Yeah.
Like that's why he's on here for me. He's maybe my favorite pitching prospect in the minors from a potential standpoint. I think the most sure thing is Grayson Rodriguez. We'll talk about him when we get to the AL. But Tink Hintz, 2020 Bowman draft. His stuff is really affordable.
He's also in some of the minor league.
Minor league products like Bowman.
Heritage.
Yeah, Bowman Heritage and Topps Heritage. But if you're looking for his Bowman first, it's in 2020 draft, and you can buy those singles pretty cheap. And he is legit.
Yeah.
He's got some filthy stuff.
Yep. All right, 2 more. Up first, switch hitter with solid, well-rounded abilities.
Which one?
Jonathan Mejia.
Yep. 17 years old. And it's his what is he hitting his? This will be his second full season. Spent a year in rookie ball last year, 45 games, pretty decent sample size. Hit 5 dingers, 418 on base percentage, 270, doesn't strike out a ton. 24% of the time.
How long before this guy? I mean, we're talking.
Well, we're
couple
talking
years.
probably 3 years.
Yeah.
At the best, we're talking about 3 years. But he's a guy who, when his stuff first came out in Bowman draft, it was a little hot, and then it kind of cooled down. I think that he's a great buy low guy, and he's a guy that long term floor utility infielder. Ceiling, really, really, really good. Probably ends up being a second baseman.
Okay. All right. Up next, our final one. We both kind of had a similar take on him. Juan Bin Cho. I just simply wrote this. Just keep an eye on him. I think there's a lot of potential there. There's a lot that still has yet to be seen. But people are very, very excited about this kid.
19 years old. Lots of raw power. I think that his raw power ratings from MLB Pipeline are a little low. Baseball America has him at like a 65 raw power, 50 current in-game power. But I think that he's the type of player that will get to all of that power because he's going to work at it and do what's necessary. He's very disciplined, very smart, really hard worker, wants to get better, and would not shock me if by the end of this season he's a top 50 prospect.
He's one of the prospects that everybody that's, writing any kind of scouting or report on him is cheering for him.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
People want him to succeed, which is always interesting for the hobby because that can go a long way with it.
I mean, the kid's 6'3". He's going to add another 30 pounds in strength. He's 19. He hasn't finished becoming he doesn't have man strength yet.
Yeah.
Right? So don't be shocked if come May, June, people start going, holy crap.
Yeah.
And there's a run on his stuff. And you can buy his Bowman Chrome. He's in 2022 draft. You can buy his base chromes for $1 or $2, and you can buy his mojos for $5. I would stack a few of those. I already have a few, but if I were you and you don't have his stuff, I would stack his stuff.
Yeah.
His autos are pretty cheap too.
Yep. So take down notes. Go to the next card show or shop or whatever. Hop online. The bargain's probably in those dollar boxes at the shows. Take your little list. I know I'm going to the next show I'm at. Run through, see if I can pull some of these names I'm excited about.
Come see me tomorrow at Mansfield.
Yes, that's what I was going to do. We have a couple shows coming up. We had actual fans stop by.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Thanks for anybody that came out. South High Show. So tomorrow is what, February the 4th, or is today the 4th? What's today?
Today is the 3rd, so tomorrow is the 4th.
Tomorrow the 4th. Yeah. Gary is going to be up in Mansfield at the show at, where is it?
It's at the fairgrounds.
Fairgrounds? Okay.
Yeah. And it's not a huge show, so if you want a show that you can go see everything and not be there for 6-7 hours, it's a great show for that. I think there's 40 tables. It's sold out. The show's sold out. Free admission. Come say hi. Let me know you listen to the show, and start digging through boxes. My dollar boxes are loaded.
All right. Anyway, next week, the 11th, Gary and I will be in Xenia, Ohio. That is a much larger show, 2 buildings. Plan for a full day. Get there early.
Yeah.
There's just so much to see. I tried to wander around. I didn't even get a chance to glance at half the tables.
No.
As we were running that. But Gary and I will both be there. We will have some killer deals. I've been buying a ton of late 90s through like 2008 game used patch stuff. A lot of baseball.
That's what I've been targeting
it's been
too.
Fun.
Yeah.
It seems to be moving really well for me right now. Anything in that like $5 to $20 range, game used, cool, unique patches. Ultra modern's been a little slower for me, even with competitive pricing or better than competitive, but there's still a lot of deals out there, guys. So come see us next week in Xenia. Anything else? We didn't really do much with product this week, but
no, I mean, there's not a ton of I'm just chomping at the bit to get a release date for 2023 Bowman baseball.
Yeah.
They haven't given it to us yet. Normally it's late February, early April. Top Series 1 comes out in 11 days. February 15th, Top Series 1 will land. So that'll be a fun product. It sounds like it's going to be priced appropriately. Should be around $90 to $100 a box for hobby and $160 or so for jumbos. So back to some semblance of reality with pricing in the hobby when it comes to baseball stuff. And we'll see what 2023 Bowman releases at, and I will be ripping a case or two of blasters just like always.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll have some fun.
That'll be fun. All right, this has been the Ball Card Show, the sports podcast.
For the Sports Collector.
See ya.
Peace.